Well, hello guys. We are live. We are coming to you live on Facebook. If you are listening to us, hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and subscribe to the channel because we do a lot of live YouTube content, and this one's exclusively live for free for our YouTube subscribers. Shane, we saw the final 5 episodes of The Watchmen.
We did.
What'd you think?
I still really enjoy this show, but I think I don't love it as quite as much as I did before I watched the final 5 episodes.
It did have that Jessica Jones feel to it, where it got
Not that bad.
it wasn't the greatest show we've ever seen, and then turned into a pile of dog shit. But it was a really, really, really good show through the first 6 episodes, and I felt like the final three were, or well, the final 3 episodes were kind of a letdown.
Yes, I would say so. Still a really good series, still a really good show, but what turned out to it started out great and loving every minute of it, just went down a bit. Um,
I don't know if I necessarily loved every minute of it. I thought there was a lot of good to it. I liked the character development in the beginning. I liked a lot of the what I saw, but it just seemed, I don't know, the last 2 episodes kind of felt like the first season of Dexter, where Dexter was great for the first, 7, 8, 9 episodes of the season, and then the last 2 episodes almost felt like it should have been fleshed out to about 3, maybe 4 episodes instead of slammed into 2. I kind of got that same feeling on this one.
yeah, definitely episode 9 felt like there was way too much happening in it.
Yeah, it just, we went from one story to something. I mean, after the shock of who John really was, it just didn't have anything anymore.
No, and episode 9 tried to deliver a moment like that when we find out that uh, True is the daughter of Vite,
Right.
but but not as much. Nothing could have had as big of impact, I think, as Doctor Manhattan being on Earth and being married to Angela.
Yeah, that's where the big reveal was, and after that reveal, I feel like there should have been a little bit more going on. It seemed rushed. It really seemed rushed the second half or the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, I feel like um, episode 8. I loved all the interactions between Angela and Doctor Manhattan, John.
Right.
But I feel like we should have seen more of it. I feel like we should have seen her actually falling for him, and her wanting to be with him other than him just introducing the device to her. I mean, it felt like we should have seen more of their life together leading up to so. And then I thought episode 9 was really 2 episodes kind of spliced and cut up and spliced together. So yeah, I think if this had been an 11 episode series, it would have been a lot better because I think 8 could have been 2 episodes just with more fleshed out about their relationship, and then 9 definitely could have been spread out a bit, and we could have seen more of what True was doing and more of what the senator's plan was, and some of the stuff like that. I really think, or even if instead of being an hour and 8 minutes, if it had been an hour and a half, that final episode, it would have been better.
Well,
But
I'm trying to run my timelines. Was it the end of episode 7 or the end of episode 8 when she took the device out of his head?
the end of episode 7.
Okay, and it just feels like that was the big reveal as to who her husband was, and that he was actually Dr. Manhattan and everything. But you're right. I think there was too much of a gap. That 6 month gap of where she falls in love with him, just we didn't get to see, so we never really saw the connection that I think we were supposed to between the two of them.
Yeah, and I also feel like they didn't quite explain everything um as far as the White Knight stuff. I mean, they
No.
kind of did, but I still feel like there was more story there to tell.
Yeah, and I mean
the White Knight was what it was. I still don't really get the Senator's issue and why he forced the White Knight to happen. I love the chicken before the egg segment that happened. I'm kind of disappointed at where they left off with her foot about to touch the water.
I knew you would be, but I thought it was great.
I mean, it was great to a point, but it's great if you're leaving it on a cliffhanger to run another season of it. Do you know what I mean?
No, I think a big theme of this entire series, this entire 9 episode series and season, in case there's ever another one by somebody else, was about faith. What do you believe in? Why do you
Right.
believe what you believe? What does your faith lead you to? And so I think that ambiguous moment at the end, I felt it was a lot less Sopranos and a lot more where the viewer really is choosing. Do I believe that Angela is going to have Dr. Manhattan's powers, or do I think she's going to fall into the pool?
Well, I felt like the overarching theme of the final episode was he had these powers but didn't do enough with them.
Right.
So you end up almost kind of being, I don't know what the word is. You kind of want more out of Dr. Manhattan. And when True is about to get that power, you're like, oh, okay, well, maybe she'll do good with it, maybe she won't. Then she doesn't get it, and then it gets to Angela, and it's like, okay, now is she going to do good with that finally? There was a lot, for me, there was a lot to question at the end of it that was almost like, I don't want to, I hope there's a second season. I really do. And I don't know if there's going to be. I don't know where the comics left off on, but I just felt like there's too much unanswered.
Okay, so first of all, this story was never in the comic. The comic was basically what the movie was that was released 10 years before the series came out.
Okay, so
this was an original idea that Damon Lindelof had for a story set in the same universe as the Watchmen movie.
Okay.
And he has no intention of doing another season.
Oh, that bastard.
He's come out and said, this was I had an idea for a self-contained story. This was it. If HBO wants to have another creator come in and do another season, they have my blessing. But in maybe 10, 20 years down the line, I'll have another idea and I'll revisit it. But right now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm done telling the story.
Okay, and I never saw the movie The Watchmen. I watched some of the. I read some of the comics. I never really. The story never grabbed me in the comics either, and I felt like this had a tough time grabbing me in it as well. The reveal of where the squid came from was kind of a letdown. The whole Dr. Veidt or Adrian Veidt story was interwoven, but kind of a letdown. It just like his interactions with the game warden and with everybody on Europa was kind of a letdown. It seemed like there was more letdowns than there really was great moments in probably the final 3 to 4 episodes.
The last time we spoke about this show, I said that my favorite character so far was Looking Glass.
Right, and he ended up being throughout the whole show. He ended up being mine too.
And so I thought episode 5 was absolutely fantastic, where we get his origin story. We see what makes him tick. How great. And that is a great episode. And then we don't see him until like halfway through the 9th episode, and he has hardly anything to do in this episode. So that to me was a big letdown. It's like, you introduce his great character, you tell his origin story, and then nothing.
Wasn't he in the 6th episode too? I thought the 6th episode, we ended the 5th episode with him getting the octopus reveal, or the not octopus, Cyclops reveal, and then season or episode 6 is when he turned on Angela.
No, episode 5 was all of that stuff.
Okay,
and
so
episode 5 ends with the 7th Cavalry, like five of the 7th Cavalry going into his house after him to kill him.
episode 6, I love the Hooded Justice origin story. I love the fact that she took all the nostalgia and she had her flashbacks and all that stuff. When we got to episode 7, that's when kind of the wheels fell off. I just didn't. When Veidt goes through his trial, and I may be getting this 7 and 8 confused too, but when Veidt goes through his trial and she's in recovery but she's going to be arrested. Why is she going to be arrested? That part didn't make sense. The fact that the squid at the
she was already under arrest for hiding the killer of the captain of the captain of the chief of police or whatever. So
by the FBI.
Right, but then they were kind of guarding. They were kind of guarding, I think, her, and then she was under arrest because, and she was supposed to be under arrest basically the whole time. She was kind of under house arrest while she was getting the treatment.
One guy that I really wish they would have told a little more about is Red. He was one of those guys that was kind of a side character that just came in with that one-liner that was just a big douchebag, but it was the one-liner that kind of kept the whole story lightened. Like when she asked, or his partner asked, "How can you eat so much?" He's like, "I got a high metabolism." And the whole thing with the lettuce in episode 5, and when she goes, "Tell him to get out of the way or I'm going to hurt him," and he goes, "Fuck you." It was just, I really enjoyed his character too.
Yeah, I did too. One story device I really liked one framing device I really liked in this entire series was that pretty much every single episode had a different main character to it. Angela is clearly the protagonist of the entire series, but every episode we have a different character that's the focus of it.
Yeah, you know what? I never really caught on to that, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, Angela kind of has 2 episodes, like the 2nd and the 7th, but not the 7th, the
8th.
The 8th. No, it is the 7th. Wait, the 7th.
The 8th was when they had the flashbacks, and it was. Well, I guess she kind of had the focal point of the 7th when she was in rehab, and then also the 8th kind of co-starring with Dr. Manhattan.
Right. So I guess 2nd, 7th, and 8th was kind of Angela, but Veidt had his episode, True had her episode, Reeves had his episode Through Angela's Eyes, Looking Glass had his episode, and then even Judd had his episode, the very first one.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's weird because it's one of those where I really enjoyed the series. I'm glad I watched it. I think anybody that it's not a series that if you're easily offended you should watch. Plain and simple. With all the racist undertones and all of the Ku Klux Klan stuff going on and things like that, it is kind of a sensitive show. But ultimately, it was a very, very well done production. I thought it was a great story. I wish it had been another couple episodes longer. I wish some of the reveals that we ended up having weren't so. It almost felt a lot like an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
That's a good point.
The biggest reveal came with half the show left to go. He did it in the village when they're telling about the monster before the monster attacks. He did it in Signs where we saw the alien way too early. Everything he did, he's always got that reveal way too early. And it kind of felt like that here, where maybe Dr. Manhattan shouldn't have been revealed until maybe mid to end of episode 9. Maybe she should have tried to protect Cal before she knocked his head out, or knocked the thing out of his head.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that would have worked because the moment that she was walking away and True said, "I know she didn't know you didn't ask who Dr. Manhattan was," then I knew right then it was Cal. You know.
See, and I guess I didn't. I didn't put two and two together, but I was also watching it at 11:30 at night and a little tired, just running around all day with the kid. But I didn't. I mean, I didn't put two and two together. I think I think the reveal of how Doctor Manhattan became a human walking on Earth should have been held off a little bit. But then in order to do that, they would have had to have done a couple extra episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any any problem with the way they revealed Doctor Manhattan. I just feel like there should have been. Yeah, I feel like there should have been more to his story and more to her story and more to what True was doing. So I just feel like not everything was fleshed out as much as it really should have been.
Yeah, and I wish Adrian Veidt had.
There's something to be said for trusting the audience, but sometimes you can trust the audience a little bit too much. You know.
Yeah, I kind of wish the Adrian Veidt story had been told a little bit more in depth as well. Not so much him on Europa trying to escape it, but just his story in general. He's
I don't
another
know. I
one.
really like that. I like those parts a lot because they're really quirky. Everything on
Well,
Europa is really quirky, and I enjoy that.
and it's really out of nowhere. Like the first maybe 4 or 5 episodes, you have no clue what the hell he's doing, why he's there, what he has to do with the rest of the story. Then all of a sudden it gets interwoven at the end of episode 5. Or was it 6? The looking glass story.
The last story was 5. Yeah.
Okay, so the end of episode 5, when you find out he's the reason for, um, the deaths in New York, then and you kind of see maybe a little bit that he could be behind the squid, but that doesn't really get revealed until episode 7. There's just a lot more to his story that I wish was revealed more. Like, why was he so hell-bent on releasing a squid on New York in 1985?
Well, he said he was trying to stop nuclear war.
Right, but why? Where was the lead up to it? Why did he come up with the squid idea? This is a guy who invented teleportation. You don't think he could have used that for something else? It just to me there was just missing parts throughout. But I guess when you have a complex story like you did, and he's not really the main event of the story, it makes sense that we wouldn't get his whole story. I just personally wish there had been a little bit more.
I kind of feel like this is a show that would benefit from a complete rewatch too.
Possibly, because now that I know the ending, now that I know, I might be able to pick up on a few more things that were just subtly done that I didn't see.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, and the whole squid reveal at the end too. Oh, it's just he's just doing it to remind them of aliens, and it's just random. And where are these squid coming from? Is he creating the squid? Does he have, he's been gone for 10 years, yet this randomizer is still running?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have no idea where the squid are actually coming from. I assume he's teleporting them from the ocean.
What kind of power device does he have to let it run for 10 years after he leaves?
He's the smartest man in existence. I'm assuming he can come up with something.
I did like the whole reveal of the countdown too, where she said, in exactly 10 days, whatever, or 10 years and so many days, and he keeps his watch going. That's kind of a cool little thing too, where the reason why he's so obsessed with the watches is because he's counting down for the time when the satellite's going to be there to take a picture of him.
Right.
That was an interesting thing too. And how the hell?
And somehow he knows exactly how long it's going to take from the time that the satellite sees him until a spaceship gets there to pick him up.
Which is what, 2 years roughly?
Yeah, 3 years. I think it's like 2.5, 3 years later.
He sure got back pretty quick, though.
Right.
If it was 2.5, 3 years, he sure got back in a heartbeat. But
although it's certainly possible that we weren't seeing everything that was happening in real time too. There could have been different time. displacements.
Obviously, we didn't, because he was the statue that was in her courtyard when
Right.
when the FBI agent and I can't remember their names, but Black Knight, when they first showed up, he was the statue that was in there in her atrium. So
Right.
that,
Yeah. So we don't really know when he actually got back to Earth.
so maybe
So sometime between 2009 and 2019 is all we know.
yeah, he was zapped away in 2009. And this took place in 2019. Supposedly this took place in, so maybe and that might be another thing too. Now that I know that that's what he's waiting for, maybe I would have paid a little more attention when she said in exactly so many days and whatever this satellite will show up.
Yeah, 5 years, 3 months, and 27 days, or something weird like that. I think
Right.
it was. Or, I mean, 8 years, 3 months, and 27 days. I think is what it was. But yeah, I have no idea.
And then he was on trial for a full year.
Right.
And then it had to have taken him a year to dig that tunnel with the horseshoe. The whole Andy Dufresne logic. How did he get the sand out? Did he get yard time?
I don't know. You're thinking way too deeply into it now.
Where the hell did the sand go? All the sand from his tunnel. I don't think they were giving him yard time, so he couldn't release it slowly in his pant leg.
He was making mud pies for the guards, Jeff. Okay.
Oh, okay. And the rotten cake at the end too was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was.
That was. If you sing for "He's a Jolly Good Fellow," I will throw up on your shoes. He did have a couple of good lines.
Yeah, I don't know. We kind of took a sideways trip to where you're kind of ridiculing part of the show, but I really did enjoy the show.
Oh, I did too. And it's not so much ridicule, it's just this is what I wish would have happened a little bit differently. But ultimately, like I said, it was a very good dramatic show. It touched on a very sensitive issue that even in 2019 is still a sensitive issue. And when you look at both sides of the equation, depending on, you can relate to everybody in this show, which is kind of an odd thing to do, because that's not really something. When you look at a guy who's a super genius and a chick who's a super genius, and then you've got cops and you've got Klan members and you've got hooded there's a part of you that can literally relate to every character in this show.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
Which is a hard thing to do when you're creating a show that's this dividing.
Yeah. So anyway, really, really good show, guys. Watch it. See if you agree with us. See if you disagree with us. Doesn't matter. I hope you at least watch it, because it's definitely worth a watch.
Leave us a comment, whether you agree, disagree, whatever you do. Just leave a comment. Let us see what you think. And what are we doing next? Are we gonna do the island? Are we gonna do the October? What was that, October Family or whatever it was on Netflix? There's Lock and Key on Netflix. There's a lot I want to watch.
Oh yeah, Lock and Key is one I'm really digging on watching soon. So
well, why don't we do that next then? Since that's that's really current and it's something that we both want to watch. So we'll do that one next, and then we'll go from there.
Well, it's created by one of my favorite authors, so that's why I want to watch it so bad.
I just really love the preview. I've got it. It's first on my watch order. It's like next queued up on my Netflix as soon as I'm done with some other stuff. But I'll pop that ahead and we can watch that one next. So in 2 weeks we'll probably come to you with that. We'll do Lock and Key next.
All right, that sounds good to me.
Otherwise,
yeah,
guys,
for those who don't know, Lock and Key was originally a comic created by Joe Hill, who is the son of Stephen King. So.
Ooh. Now I'm even more intrigued.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so guys, we do this live thing twice a week. right here on YouTube. It's also on lordsofpainradio.net and also on our Patreon channel. But you can get it on Spreaker.com. You can get our Kingdom of Honor, where we discuss New Japan Wrestling, we discuss Ring of Honor Wrestling, All Elite Wrestling, whatever independent circle kind of jumps up to us at the time. And occasionally we discuss a little tiny bit of WWE if it's in the news. That's on Tuesday nights at 7:30 Central Time, right here on YouTube. Then on Wednesday, as soon as AEW...
You might even get to hear us talk about Daniel Bryan's testicles.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. And Wednesday nights, as soon as AEW Dynamite goes off the air at 9 p.m. Central, we try to do Dynamite After Dark, which is our immediate reaction to the show that you just saw. And every 2 weeks, usually on a Monday, we come live with pretty much whatever TV show we're currently watching, and coming up will be Lock and Key. So I'm excited for that. You can catch us on Patreon. That's where our archive is. That's where our exclusive shows are. We do a Patreon exclusive pretty much every Tuesday night after we're done with Kingdom of Honor. Tomorrow night will be what are we doing tomorrow? Supercard of Honor from 2011. Ring of Honor's pay-per-view from the early part of the Sinclair years. And we also have these shows on our Patreon as well as on YouTube. And then, of course, follow us on Twitter. I'm at Regi Co-op, he's at ZanmanLOP, and you can use hashtag DAD and hashtag KOH to get all of it.
Well done. That's all we've got. We'll try to do better next time. And remember to take care of yourselves out there in the real world, and because it's never goodbye. It's just until next time.
You son of a bitch. You take it away every time. Fine. Adios. See you later. So long. Sayonara.